And just today, it emerged that more than 50 people have been killed during an attack by gunmen in Plateau State. The victims were members of an ad hoc volunteer vigilante force set up to protect villages from raids. Since the beginning of this year, thousands of Nigerians have lost their lives to violence by unknown gunmen, bandits, kidnappers and Boko Haram militants. Hardly a week passes by without memorials being held somewhere for those who've been killed and whose relatives say the government has failed to protect. But now state governors, the chief security officers charged with protecting their citizens, say it's gone far enough. And they are now stridently demanding a change to the Nigerian constitution to allow for the establishment of state police units. They say the escalating violence raises serious questions about the viability of a national police force which cannot provide effective security because of its cumbersome operational structure. And they argue that state police units will be able to react more quickly to local crises. But opponents of the plan say it would be dangerous to give charge of armed security forces to state governors who would simply turn them into private armies. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from Gusau by the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda, Lawal. Governor, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You've had a long day today. I mean, you were live on Arise earlier today, launching your big payback to retired civil servants. We'll get to that in a moment, but thank you for joining us. First of all, are you one of those governors who's applied to the National Assembly to effect a constitutional amendment for the establishment of state police? I understand at least 33 governors have jointly written to the National Assembly in this regard.
Well, good evening, Charles, and thank you very much for having me in this program tonight. Let me start by answering your question by saying that, yes, among the 36 governors in Nigeria, Dauda happens to be one of those who is in support of state police in Nigeria. And I made it very, very clear. And honestly, for me, I believe that should be the way forward because of the challenges we're facing in the area of security, especially in Zamfara State. So yes, I'm an advocate of state police in Nigeria.
And just give us a sense of how severe the security challenge is in Zamfara State. Because, I mean, there's talk of unrelenting banditry, kidnappings, cattle rustling, and all that sort of thing.
Well, let me give you an overview of the situation in Zamfara State then and now. You're fully informed and aware that we've been having these challenges for the past 13 years. So it is something that I, as a governor, inherited in Zamfara State. And as a responsible leader, I'm making conscious effort to make sure I've handled it the way it should be by bringing it down to the lowest minimum level. And I've been on this right from inception, which was one of the reasons why, upon assumption in office, I had to really set up my own special squad, my own special security called the Community Protection Guard, CPG. And these security guards work hand in hand with the conventional security. Why did I do that? I've realized that for us to make meaningful progress in the area of insecurity, one needs to really understand the terrain. And the first thing we did was to employ about 300 community protection guards across all the 40 local government because they understand the trend better, they know the people, so it's much easier, and they're always the first line of defense whenever there's such attack in the community. And honestly, since that time, I mean, they're doing fantastic, they have done very well, and I can see and I can confirm to you that the security situation is improving much, much better than what we inherited in the past. So it is working effectively, and that's why I'm for state police in Nigeria.
Well, thank you for that brief summary, because I was actually going to come to ask you about the community protection guards. And I also understand that in addition to that, you've got a security trust fund that you've set aside specifically to deal with the problem. So obviously you're trying to address the situation, but that clearly isn't enough, which presumably is one of the reasons why you've become an advocate for state police.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not enough per se, but what we're saying, by name, governors are the chief security officers of our respective states. However, in terms of command and control, we don't have a say. We have to rely upon the federal government or the federal government agencies like the police, military, civil defense, and so on and so forth. So if we have our own police, it means we are in charge, we're in control. We should be able to command, we should be able to tell them what to do and not to do. So I think the easiest thing to do, because we know these people very well, we live with these people, and part of what we promise to do is protecting lives and properties of our people. So honestly, I mean, for me, it's one of the reasons why I feel there's a need to have community police. This should be the way forward in terms of handling all the security challenges, especially in a state like Zamfara State and other neighboring states in northern Nigeria and even in Nigeria as a whole, because that's the way forward.
And would it be fair to say that this escalating violence and the seeming inability of the security services to prevent the attacks has raised questions about the viability of a national police force that's headquartered in Abuja, which some say is not able to provide effective security because of its cumbersome operational structure?
I think, Charles, I mean, there are a lot of factors. First of all, like I said, I mean, command and control is not in our hand. Whenever there's an issue in any of these areas, the first thing they have to wait and get command or orders from their superiors in Abuja. And by the time you wait for that, I mean, the damage has been done. So, but if I'm the governor and I have my state police, and I mean, I live with these people, so whenever there's any kind of attack anywhere, I can easily direct these people to quickly act so that either to prevent or to counter whatever attack that may be coming from some of these bandits. So honestly, I mean, it is important that we should look at these cases and understand the terrain, understand the people, and be able to have absolute control of these people so that whenever there's such an attack anywhere, you can easily just give instruction what to do, and that should be the way forward. And if we're able to have that kind of rapid response from these people, I think that will go a long way in solving some of these security challenges the state are facing. Because sometimes, I mean, like I said, you find a situation whereby you need to act as quickly as possible, but they will tell you they need to hear from their masters in Abuja. And for me, it doesn't make sense. They wouldn't be waiting for you whenever there's an attack. You wait until somebody gives you instruction to do or not to do. Come on. I mean, we should be more than that. I think it's high time that we should be the one in charge. We should have the command so that whenever there's such attack, anytime, anywhere, 24/7, we should be able to act swiftly and respond to whatever challenges that is facing our state or communities.
I think for any reasonable person, that point you're making makes absolute sense. I mean, but I wonder if there is any political element in all of this. I mean, you are, of course, a PDP governor in a country that's governed by the APC.
I think, Charles, it's high time. Let me make this categorical statement right now. As we are now, we are leaders, whether you're an APC or you're PDP or whatever political party. The first thing that you should understand, you're a leader. And as a leader, you're responsible. So right now, I think it's about governance, because it's not about politics or party. It has gone beyond that. We have responsibility as leaders, and therefore we must take this responsibility head on. So I don't think it has anything to do with PDP or APC or whatever. The bottom line is we're leaders and we're expected to protect lives and properties of our people as a nation. So I don't think it's about whether you're PDP or you're APC or you belong to this political party or not. Let the whole thing be holistic. I think this is time for governance, It's not about politics. And you can't play politics with people's lives and properties. I think if we do that, then we're not being fair to the electorates.
Well, let's just be clear on that. I mean, you are getting the full cooperation of the federal government in sorting out the security challenges that you face.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a choice. Like I said, I don't have a police, I don't have the army, and I don't have the civil defense. They all belong to the federal government. My own is to collaborate, and I can tell you that we are fully collaborating, but then the response time is something that we're really concerned about. Let us be the ones in charge of command and control, so that whenever there's such attack, we can act immediately without waiting for any order from superior officers in Abuja or anywhere they are. Ask chief security officers of our respective states.
But I mean, if you were given charge of making decisions based on the commission of crimes in your state, would that make it easier rather than going all the way to establish state police? In other words, if they said, look, if there's a big, conflagration in your state and the state commissioner of police concedes that there is a conflagration, you can take charge.
Charles, you know and I know that is not how it operates. And that is a fact. I can tell the police commissioner this is what I want him to do, and he will tell me that, no, sir, let me hear from my superior. That has always been the case. It's the same thing with the army, it's the same thing with civil defense. So it's a general thing all over the country. If you speak to any governor in Nigeria today, he will tell you exactly the challenges he's facing in terms of command and control of the federal government security forces. And that is why we're advocating for our own state. When I know I have my police, at least they listen to me. I'll be the one to provide everything for them. The most important thing is to have the legal backing, legal authority to be able to acquire arms and be able to train these people very well, because they understand the trend better than conventional security. These are people from within our own community. So if I'm going to employ them, definitely, just like we did with the Community Protection Guard, it's going to be from local government authorities where they reside. They understand the people, they know the trend very well. So it makes it much easier. I mean, these are people that we live with. For example, in Zamfara State, look, Charles, we are 99.9% one ethnic group. So what could have been the problem? We speak the same language, the same religion. Why do we have these challenges? So, these are issues that you need to look at. And these issues must be looked at critically. Forget about sentiment. Forget about politics. It's not about politics. It's not about sentiment. You're dealing with people's lives. And this is why we're elected as officers, responsible people, to be able to defend the integrity of these people, to defend their life, to defend their properties, and so on and so forth. But we have limitations, and that's a fact. Everybody will tell you we have limitations, and you know that. That is why we're advocating for state police. Because if we do that, I think that will go a long way. I will take full responsibility. But for now, I can't take full responsibility of the security situation in the state because I don't have the command and control of these people. I rely on what the federal government says. And whatever they said is final. So
right,
that's the difference.
But presumably, you're also getting intelligence from the federal government and from the federal agencies. And I'm wondering what they're saying to you is the reason, because you talked about the fact that it's all one unified state, the same language, the same culture, the same religion. I mean, what are they saying to you is the reason why this insecurity is taking place in Zamfara state?
Well, I guess, like I said, Charles, it is something that I inherited for the past 13 years. There are so many factors. Governance, lack of full governance or lack of support, so many reasons, injustice. People are not being treated fairly. Economic hardship. So these are all contributing to the security situation in the state. When there's justice, believe me, a lot of things will go wrong. Will go well. Unemployment is a major factor. Poverty. These are issues that must be addressed. But like I said, in my own case in Zamfara State, we are 99.9% the same tribe, the same religion. Why do we have this? Injustice is also a factor. If we're able to address some of these challenges, believe me, that will go a long way in solving the security situation, not just in Zamfara, across the country. But particularly in Zamfara State, I sat down and asked myself, what are these people asking for? Is it that they need school? If the school, is my responsibility as a governor to provide schools for them. Is it hospitals? It's my responsibility as governor to provide healthcare to all the citizens of Zamfara State. So what could have been the problem? Let's sit down, analyze the situation, understand what are they asking for. I always said, if you talk about Niger Delta, I will say yes, they have every reason to complain because they are looking for economic independence. What is happening in Zamfara State? These are the critical questions that must be addressed. And that is why we're doing that as a responsible government, looking at the major reasons why this insecurity persists to be able to address some of the situation. And we're on it. And that is why, if you look at the figures now, as far as Zamfara is concerned, it has gone down drastically. In the past, you will hear that on a daily basis, 200, 300 people are being killed or kidnapped. But now, the figures has gone down drastically. You hardly hear that. There may be pocket of attacks here and there, which we are still working on that to make sure we protect lives and properties of our people. It's an ongoing process, and we will not relent until sanity comes back to Zamfara State. It used to be a very, very peaceful state, one of the best states that you can live in the country. But then things are just falling apart. But the good thing now is things are coming back to normal.
Well, Governor, I'm impressed by what you're saying, but I'm curious to know what you've actually done to bring it down.
Let me tell you what I've done to bring it down. First of all, we'll look at the situation in rural areas. Some are basically looking for water to drink, just something to have a clean water. Some are looking for schools where their children can go to school. Some are looking for hospital. What does it take to build schools? What does it take to build hospitals? And that is why we're doing that across all the 14 local governments, building schools, providing water. We are concerned about the education, so we're concerned about the health sector, and also create an avenue where people can at least have something to do, keep them busy. What we're doing right now is we're renovating all the skill acquisition centers in Zamfara State, and we're trying to bring all the, especially the younger generation, where we can train people to have skills. And when they graduate from that school, we give them certificates and we give them a starter pack to go and start business. These are some of the measures we're putting in place to get people together to have something doing. And by the time people have things doing, I think that will go a long way in solving most of the issues as far as security situation is concerned in Zamfara State. And like I said, we started this within the last 2 years, and I've seen the figures. Things are really coming down, not the way they used to be in the past. And it's a continuous process until we get to a very, very comfortable level. And I believe by the grace of Allah, we'll get to that level.
Right. So how difficult do you reckon, Governor, it's going to be to push this constitutional amendment through, especially given that there are opponents in the National Assembly and in the administration who believe that it would be dangerous to give charge of armed security forces to state governors who they say would simply turn them into private armies?
Well, I can agree with to some extent that yes, there are major concerns about people using the police for their own personal interest. But at the same time, if you look at the numbers of states that are for, they are much more than the states that are against. I think it's just about 3 states that did not agree for the state policing. So you can see the majority agree that yes, there should be. And look, Charles, there will always be an issue anytime, anywhere. So let's start something first. Let's address some of the basic challenges. Let's get there. I'm sure by the time we do that, we'll look at every other thing. And look, we're not the only ones to start this. You've traveled around the world. If you go to the United States, they have the county police, they have the state troopers. So you have to start somewhere. It's not about giving excuses every day. No, start somewhere, address the problems, and you make it perfect. You don't have a perfect system anywhere in the world. So let's start. At least we can address some of the challenges that may be coming in the process of implementation or even after implementation.
Indeed.
But let's start somewhere.
Right, indeed. Well, let's move beyond state police and talk about the other things that are happening in Zamfara state, where you're being commended for clearing a huge backlog of billions of naira in pension and gratuity payments owed by previous administrations to retired civil servants. I mean, give us the background to that.
Well, when we came on board in 2023, part of the challenges I inherited was the backlog of salaries, backlog of pension and gratuity and everything. And as a responsible leader, I look at the whole situation and say, look, how do we address some of these challenges? People have retired since 2011. You can imagine, 13 years after retirement, no payment of pension, no gratuity. I mean, that is unfair. It's an unfair system. And every responsible person, leader, I mean, it is something that you should look into. And that was what informed my decision to form a committee to say, look, you know what? We cannot continue this way. The system must be functioning. Something drastic needs to be done. And that was what informed my decision to set up a committee at both local government as well as the state to look at the issue of pension and gratuity. And I'm happy to say that they did very well by identifying the number of retired civil servants in Zamfara state at local level, at local government level, as well as the state. And we had the figures amounting to about, at the time, almost about 15 billion naira. And I said, okay, what we need to do, let's start somewhere. Let's start saving money so that on a monthly basis, we start paying them, anybody that is cleared. And the committee did a very good job by doing the necessary verification to make sure whoever is getting that money is an authentic retiree. And they did that very well. And we implemented, we started the payment on a month-by-month basis until we're able to clear the backlog. And I'm happy to say that now we have cleared from 2011 to December 2023. We cleared every pensioner to the tune of 13,600 million naira. That is where we are in Zamfara state. And I'm happy we have done that. You can see the joy from people. Some were dead, some barely survive. Some barely eat 1 square meal in a day. So, it's a horrible thing, but thank God we're able to clear that. And that has become history now.
Well, that's a very, very commendable thing. And I expect, as you said, those people are dancing a jig around their their homes now. And I also understand that tomorrow...
Charles, if you see some of these guys, it's unbelievable. You'll have tears.
I can imagine. There's nothing... people who are entitled to get their pay and they've retired, that's all they've got to depend on, and if it's not there, it devastates their lives.
13 good years.
Terrible.
No, it's unfortunate. That is wickedness. It's very, very unfair. The system has not been fair to them. But we thank God we put that behind us. It has become history now.
I understand that tomorrow you're going to be distributing tons of fertilizers to farmers in Zamfara state. Is that going to be a one-off, or will this now be a regular event?
No. Charles, if you follow history, we've been doing that. Last year, we did 2 seasons. There's a rainy season and then there is what do you call it, the dry season. Last year, we were able to distribute twice, not just fertilizer, which also includes all these power tillers, insecticides, seedlings, and so many other things. You know, the good thing about Zamfara State is an agrarian economy. And if we're able to help the farmers, believe me, that will go a long way in also tackling some of the security challenges we're having in Zamfara State. And that is why we're making conscious effort to make sure we incentivize the farmers by providing fertilizer, seedlings, insecticide, and modern tools for them to be able to not just do a subsistence farming, but also for them to be able to use it for commercial purposes. And that has also gone a long way in changing the narrative, in changing the landscape. And also, people are so happy now, you know, because some of them just need to go to farm. They just need little incentive. So we have done that last year twice, and this year also we've done the dry season. And tomorrow we're distributing fertilizers for the rainy season. I'm happy to tell you that it's going to be live, so you see exactly what we have on ground, and this is going to go around to all the 14 local governments, ward by ward. We have about 147 wards, so it will get to every community in Zamfara State, and this fertilizer and other implements are free of charge. No kobo is being charged to anybody, including transportation to their respective destinations.
Well, that's very interesting. But just briefly, before we have to go, I wonder how the political narrative might be about to change for you, because I understand that there have been calls for you to leave your party, the PDP, and join the new opposition. The new opposition ADC coalition, or perhaps even the APC. I mean, is that a call that you're likely to hearken to?
No, Charles, I'm a PDP person, and I'll still remain in PDP. So I got elected under the platform of PDP, People's Democratic Party. So I'm still a PDP card-carrying member and Governor of Zamfara under People's Democratic Party. Yeah, there may be, people calling on me to do this and that, but right now I'm in PDP and I remain in PDP.
On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed, Governor, for the time that you've taken to talk to us and also to commend you for the things that you're doing in your state. Dauda Lawal is the Governor of Zamfara State. He was talking to me on the line there from Gusau.